Hey there, I'm Doug with B&H. Sony's Xperia line of smartphones continues to grow, and with the new Xperia 1 Mark IV, we have what is perhaps the most comprehensive set of features I've ever seen on a mobile device. Creators can look forward to 4K 120fps video, 5G live streaming, gaming enhancements, and even the ability to use the phone as an external monitor. But perhaps one of the coolest new features here is that it has the world's first optical zoom lens, giving creators the kind of true zoom functionality previously unavailable in a smartphone. Plus, there are new apps such as Music Pro, which brings music producers into the creative fold. So let's take a look. The Xperia 1 Mark IV takes everything that has gone into the Xperia line and makes it even faster and more reliable than before. The 21:9 screen, a hallmark of the series, is a 4K OLED HDR display, giving it a beautiful first impression. Much of the focus on the latest model here, though, is on its array of lenses. The Mark IV features the world's first optical zoom lens in a smartphone at 85 to 125 millimeters. Honestly, it's a remarkable feat of engineering when you consider how small this is, and it gives the phone a decisive edge in telephoto capture. New HDR options and even more powerful 4K 120p modes provide unparalleled movie-making power, while the phone's new emphasis on live streaming means you can stream both live video from the cameras and mobile gaming right from the phone. And another completely new feature to the Mark IV is the addition of the Music Pro app, which lets you record vocals into the phone and then work some cloud-based magic to make them sound like they were recorded in the studio, all for you to edit with in the app later on. We'll take a closer look at that though in a bit. Xperia line has maintained a very high bar for camera quality and innovation for a while now. Sony's camera engineering expertise, as always, really shows off here, but more than usual though, in that the Mark IV features the world's first true optical zoom lens, as I've been saying. There are actually multiple optical elements in here that shift the same way a professional zoom lens would, and the result, of course, is a variable focal range that doesn't sacrifice any picture quality whatsoever. Now, to be clear, the only optical zoom here is the 85 to 125mm f2.3 to f2.8 lens, with the other lenses being the 16mm f2.2 and 24mm f1.7. Sony has really emphasized a strong sense of uniformity between every camera though, with all three lenses shooting to 12-megapixel Exmor RS sensors, and the phone provides seamless transitions between every lens when zooming between them. This means, for example, that you'll get digital zooms between 16 and 24 and between 24 and 85, but the camera knows when to switch to the next optical stage up. Speaking of sensors, each lens corresponds to slightly different sensor sizes. The 16mm uses a 1/2.5-inch sensor, the 24mm uses a 1/1.7-inch sensor, and the 85 to 125mm has a 1/3.5-inch sensor. Naturally, this has a huge impact on both video and photo functionality, especially when you take into account the extra processing power on display here. Photography on the Xperia line is directly inspired by Sony's own Alpha line of cameras, which is no surprise at all, but the improvements here go beyond just optics. You can shoot in 20fps bursts here with full autofocus and exposure, and the readout is actually so fast that you can even do HDR exposures as well. Other Alpha standard features that return here are the real-time IIF for all lenses, along with object, face, and animal tracking as well. And 4K shooters can rejoice. Video on the Mark IV shoots up to 4K 120fps across all sensors. There is no change in frame rate or resolution when you change lenses. Autofocus works in 120fps too, and the 120fps shooting can either be recorded as a native high frame rate mode or in slow motion VFR mode. The phone's raw speed also allows users to shoot multi-frame HDR by essentially shooting alternating exposures and combining them. Shoot in 60fps to produce a 30fps HDR video, for example, or 48fps, yes, to get 24fps. So I probably don't need to tell you that streaming is absolutely everywhere right now. The Xperia 1 Mark IV offers one of the easiest ways to stream video, and that's straight from the camera app. You can set up your streaming destination and settings in the settings icon of the app, and then the record button becomes a Stream Now button. This lets you stream directly to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and many others. With 5G sub-6 and millimeter wave cell support, you should be able to reliably stream from just about anywhere. Gaming has also been a strong suit of previous Xperia phones, with much of the same feature set returning here. Central to this, of course, is the Game Enhancer app, which includes enhancements such as the low gamma razor to brighten dark regions of a game, audio EQ, and voice chat optimization. The Game Enhancer also extends the Xperia's streaming capabilities with customizable stream overlays and live chats that can be displayed in real time. Other tech-heavy benefits to gaming come from the Xperia's own hardware. The 21:9 OLED screen really looks gorgeous here, but it's the 120Hz refresh rate that keeps action smooth and response times fast. The phone always utilizes a 240Hz touch scanning rate, while there's also a special 240Hz motion blur reduction setting to get you even better motion clarity. You can record all gameplay in 120 FPS, and there's even RT, or reverse time recording, which essentially buffers the last 30 seconds of gameplay and then lets you save the clip of the action if you go back. Perfect to see replay of how you won that last match. When it comes to sound, new speaker drivers and enclosures add to the full stage stereo sound on the Xperia. This promises more power and better low-frequency response. Audio on the Mark IV really comes down, though, to its extensive format support. When using a compatible platform, for example, the phone supports 360 reality audio, and it can even upmix stereo sources into 360 sound. Sony's DS-EE Ultimate could use AI to improve compressed audio sources, and there's LDAC support for wireless sound. The phone itself is hardware ready for Bluetooth LE audio, but that should come in a later update. And I love that I can say this. There is still a 3.5mm headphone jack on board for wired enthusiasts and lovers of the aux cable. Completely new to the Xperia 1 Mark IV is the Music Pro app. This is really cool, especially if you're into music production. You can record vocals straight into the Xperia's microphone and then upload it to Sony's cloud service, which, get this, can denoise and de-reverb the track, providing you with vocals that reproduce the sound of a condenser microphone. It can even, supposedly, isolate vocals from an acoustic performance, which sounds just wild to me. The resulting tracks can be downloaded back from the cloud and mixed or edited further in the Music Pro app.
Oh, 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 oh.
So what can I say about the display that I haven't said before? I'm a big fan of the 21:9 ratio Sony has held standard on the Xperia line, as it not only provides a wide ratio for viewing cinematic content, but it also allows the phone to fit better in one hand. Of course, the best part about it is that it's an HDR OLED display, meaning rich, deep black levels and a spectacular color reproduction. With 4K resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate, it's sharp and clear for everything you see and do. One new benefit in the Mark IV, however, is that the display is 50% brighter than before. Borrowing somewhat from the Xperia Pro, the Xperia 1 Mark IV adds external monitor support for cameras that support the USB UVC protocol. This means you can simply go from USB-C on a camera to USB-C on the phone to get external video from an A7R4, for example. Now, on cameras without UVC support, an HDMI to USB-C cable should also do the trick. Taking a look at the Xperia Mark IV, the profile and shape are obviously defined primarily by the 21:9 screen, giving it dimensions of 165 by 71 by 8.2 millimeters. It's super light at only 187 grams, but it feels pretty solid in the hand thanks to the Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on both sides. Now inside, we have the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 mobile platform, which includes the 5G sub-6 and millimeter wave support. Memory is generous here, 12 GB of RAM, while storage comes in at 512 GB. The Mark IV comes with a 500 mAh battery with charging done through the phone's USB-C port on the bottom. There's also support for wireless charging, but with a 30-watt USB-C charger, quick charging should get you to 50% battery life in just 30 minutes. There really isn't much the Xperia 1 Mark IV can't do. It's got the hardware to do so much processing, and it really flexes it in the video and photo apps. The real-time IIF, 4K 120 FPS capture, game enhancements, audio processing, extensive live streaming capabilities, external monitoring, and the overall responsiveness of the phone give it one of the widest range of use cases for so many different types of creators. So that's it for the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV. I'm Doug with B&H, and I'll see you next time.